A Korean boy band formed from the winners of a survival reality TV show. 3 members of K-pop supergroup Treasure sit down for the CNBC Conversation. Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Imad Akhtar. On this episode, we go further into the world of K-pop than we have ever gone before. I speak to Choi Hyun-suk, Ji-hoon and Yoshi, 3 members of the popular boy band Treasure. The band was formed by YG Entertainment, the company behind the massively successful Korean group Blackpink. Treasure looks to follow that success. Their singles such as Boy and Jikjin have racked up over 100 million views. Its members were selected through YG Treasure Box, a TV survival singing competition that saw 29 male YG trainees battling it out for a place in what would become Treasure. Today, Treasure is a 10-member boy band. I caught up with 3 members of the group during their Asia tour and discussed their early beginnings, music production, and their hopes for the future. Hyun-suk, Ji-hoon, Yoshi, thank you so much for joining us today on the CNBC Conversation. Now, if there's one thing that sets K-pop stars apart from their musical counterparts in other countries, it's their unique way of introducing themselves. So without further ado, would the 3 of you mind introducing yourselves from a team perspective as well as individually?
Right. Fire, Treasure. Hello, we are Treasure. Yeah. 네, 저는 team leader of Treasure. Name is Hyun-suk Choi. Then
I'm also a leader of Treasure, Ji-hoon. Looking forward to this interview.
저는 랩을 맡고 있는.
I'm rapper Yoshi. Also looking forward to this.
Obviously, as a K-pop band, you've traveled all over the world. What are your favorite countries to visit?
Singapore.
yes.
We love Singapore.
Absolutely Singapore. 저는 이미 말씀드렸기 때문에.
For me, I've really counted down the days until we got here. It is to the extent that I was teasing my mum about my visit to Singapore, the Singapore that we visited together. I was bragging to her, you have to work, but I get to go to Singapore.
What do you do on your off days when you're not performing or when you're not practicing?
대부분 이제 멤버들마다
All of our members really value working on our personal development goals, such as practicing rap or our vocals, as well as dance.
연습도 하고 있고.
We're also practicing musical instruments.
말씀드렸다시피.
And because we have to tour around so many countries in the world, each of the members have a special language that we want to pick up, or that we have to pick up, so we also study really hard.
Do you have a hidden talent or a talent that has not yet been seen in the public domain?
저는 요즘 시간이 날 때마다
Whenever I have time, I try to practice my guitar. And I'm trying to invest more time into practicing guitar, so one day I'll be able to perform on stage while singing. So that's what I'm practicing for.
저는 이제 연습생 때부터 고대하던 크럼프라는 장르 댄스.
I've been recently quite into this dance genre called krump. I'm practicing it and learning the basics. I can't show you now, but I think I'll be able to perform it in about a year. And fortunately, with my connections lately, I've also been able to look at some clothing designing. I'm studying that as well.
How often do members prepare for a show and concert? Are there any routines that you can share with us? Any exercises? How often do you practice?
저는 이제 아무래도 보컬이다.
Because I have to take care of my vocal cords and rehearse for dances that include powerful movements while singing, I try to manage my breathing a lot. Before we go on the stage, I warm up my vocal cords and try to gain control of my breathing before our performance starts. I think that helps me reset my mindset before starting any stage as well, before we go up.
저는 이제 아무래도 래퍼고
Because I'm a rapper, and because our company is YG, which specializes in performances, I try to look at our seniors and see how they've performed on stage or bring more energy into the stage. I get more motivation and some inspiration from them. Watching their songs and stages made me realize how rappers pave the way for the vocal members or for the dance members to focus on their parts by adding on ad-libs and supporting them with energy.
저는 목이 잘 풀리게 일단 여러 가지
In order to warm up my vocal cords, I try to keep shouting and making sounds that don't really make sense. And I try to bring that tension or energy onto the concert, so all the fans and us can scream and have fun together.
준비인 것 같아요.
I think that transitions on to the next question quite nicely. Could you share your experience of your journey of how the band was formed?
I want to cry.
데뷔 과정이라고 하면 이제
We were on the same survival program, but our paths to getting on board the company label were somewhat different.
그 서바이벌 프로그램은 동일하지만
From our company, we have a monthly performance review for the trainees.
개인 보컬
It includes personal vocals, group dances that test our personal ability to perform, and they look for someone that matches the company's vision for an artist. It seems simple, but it's also quite a difficult process.
되면은 것 같아요, 과정은. 네.
But if it wasn't for that period of process, then we wouldn't all have our members here. We hear quite often that each and every one of our members has their own separate colours. And I feel that if we didn't have that period, we wouldn't be hearing the same compliments, nor be the group that we are today. We wouldn't have debuted in the same way that we did, and we're quite thankful for those tests. Now that I'm looking back at it, wishing we had one or more of those for the sake of our improvements.
현석 형이 말한 거에 좀 더 붙여서
In addition to what Hyun Suk said, before we made our debut, we have friends that trained in Korea, friends that trained in Japan, and there are friends that didn't train as much as others did. So it feels like an Avengers team, where we've all gathered from different backgrounds and different preparation periods. That's the process that we all went through.
네, 그렇게 거쳤습니다. 연습.
Treasure made its debut in 2020, and since then your music videos have already garnered millions of views. Why do you think it is that your music is so relatable to people?
사실 어떻게 보면 지금 가장 좋은 방법은
I think the ideal case scenario would be if we already knew the answer to that and have stuck to that strategy. But what we tell our fans a lot is that we are a group that coexists, so we're constantly in a process where we can share these experiences with our fans. And as we show our fans the growth that we've been going through, we're hoping to share that sentiment of improving and growing out of the hopes of bringing more inspiration to their individual lives as well. I know it's kind of weird to say this, but our songs are pretty good, and thankfully we hear this a lot. So perhaps that's the reason why we've garnered so much support from our fans as well.
정말 감사하게 우리 팬분들이 1억이라는 선물을 주시지 않았나 싶습니다.
그리고 또 이제 아까 뭐 현석이 형이 얘기한 것처럼
Like Hyunso said, I think as much as it would be a blessing to pinpoint what moves our fans the most, we believe it's a process of getting to know exactly what that is.
아직은 알아가는 단계라고 생각하고 있고요. 그리고
We have so many staff members, artists, and people who stay up all night and day, and we're a result of that work. Personally, I'm hoping to quickly catch exactly what the world wants and to hone in on what people want to see.
엄청 많은 조회수를 선물해 주신 팬들한테
I want to really thank our fans for giving us so many views.
일단 제가 아시아
I felt this through our Asia tour, that music has no language nor barriers. And I've known this. But I think we felt this happiness through touring and making new memories through our performances.
추억을 만들었습니다.
Still ahead, the early personal journeys. Stay with us on the CNBC Conversation. South Korea is famous for its reality TV music programs, such as KBS Music Bank, MBC K-pop, and M Countdown. Hopefuls are put through their paces, competing for fame and fortune beyond television. Live performances are a big part of K-pop's appeal, but Treasure, which was formed at the height of the pandemic, was forced to rely on virtual performances and online meet and greets to reach out to their fans and promote their music. Still, that didn't stop them from hitting over 1 million cumulative sales for their debut album, The First Step, Treasure Effect. Your debut happened in the midst of a very difficult time for the world when the COVID-19 pandemic struck. Was it challenging to promote your music during this time?
저는 개인적으로 이 가수라는 직업이
I think as artists, it's a human-to-human job, which is why broadcasts and stage performances are different when there aren't any fans standing in front of us, and instead we have to upload videos.
또 그런 시간들로
There were some moments where it felt like interaction was lacking a bit.
팬분들을 만나 뵙게 되고
But now we get to meet fans from all over the world, not just Korea, but including the fans in Singapore. And we get to cherish the in-person experiences a lot more thanks to that.
맞아, 팬분들 있고 없다는, 그러니까 처음에 저희 없는 상태에서 시작을.
Especially because we started off in a no-audience setting. I later realized how precious an experience it is to have people standing there when we perform. One good thing I will say is that there was that momentum of us trying to unite as a group because there isn't really an audience that we can see directly. So the members were trying to lift each other up. I think that memory really sits well with me.
What inspired or motivated you to audition for and join YG's training program?
아까 좀 전에 말씀드렸던 공연에 관련된 얘기.
I think we said previously also, it has a lot to do with how the brand is affiliated with the concept of performance. We have seen other artists in our company and their performances. Their songs are amazing, but we also grew up watching their performances. We didn't major in professional music, but what we learned from watching other artists is that performance and the stage brought some energy that we just can't explain in words. For the YG brand, there is this coolness about YG that we want to show off and have yet to show off. And that's purely what we've learned from our senior artists, and we're constantly thinking of how to deliver that on our performance as well.
YG이기 때문에.
또 짧게 얘기하자면
For me, it's two things. YG is where all the cool people are, and also where my role model is. That's why we've only looked at YG the whole time and just pursued YG and nowhere else. I love you, YG.
The three of you made a conscious decision to pursue a career in K-pop. How did your family and friends react to your decision?
저는 처음에 진짜 가족이랑
At first, I didn't tell my friends nor my family.
진짜 오디션
It was only when I went for the audition program and it was about to broadcast that I told my friends.
알고 있었던 거죠.
And my friends acted like it was already somewhat expected.
라이 축하해.
저는 일단 부모님은 제가 항상 어릴 때 뭘 하시든
My parents have always been the type to support whatever I do. When I was older, they told me they never wanted to be a hindrance to whatever I wanted to do. They joke about me wanting to pursue K-pop because I didn't want to study. As for my friends, they really doubted that I could be a part of YG because we all loved YG that much.
저도 저희 부모님은
My parents were also quite supportive of when I told them I wanted to become a musician.
정말 하고자 하는 일들
My home is actually quite far from Seoul,
굉장히 많이 해주셨었는데
but they were still okay with sending me so far
가수가
from home.
된다고 얘기를 들었을 때 워낙 제가 예술고등학교
As for my friends, they were very jealous.
워낙
I graduated from an art school and got myself into such a cool company,
멋있는 회사니까
so friends were quite jealous.
부러워하는 친구들이 좀 많았었던 것 같아요.
Could you take us through the process of how the band goes about making its music and dance choreography?
솔직하게요.
Honestly,
오케이. 일단 곡을
first of all, we feel that the participation ratio of our members putting together a song is quite high.
완전 전체 컴포즈는
It might not be for the entire song, but the producers ask us our opinions and really reflect our opinions extremely well. They even consider their inspiration for their songwriting, so we're collaborating together on a lot of things.
같이 뭔가
When it comes to dance choreography, we go for things that may be cliché but also catchy. That's what we prioritize, something that can be stuck in people's heads. The trend these days for K-pop is to get something that's difficult to do and look really cool. But for our company, we include that and emphasize the catchiness of it. That's why when I said YG puts extra importance on the performance aspect, we focus on how catchy things are when we perform. So we get fans to stand up and dance along with us, and I think that's a factor that's taken into consideration when we put together choreography.
저희 음악을 만드시는 프로듀서 분들이랑
The producers who make the music and the choreographers and dancers of YGX really reflect our opinions. And I think that's why we come up with such various creations.
더 다양한 그림들이 많이 나오는 것 같습니다. 사랑해요.
We love you, producers.
You're a large group with many members, tend to be precise. What are the dynamics like? Do you guys get along? How do you deal with differing opinions? Do you live together?
일단 항상 항상 어느 인터뷰에 가서도 말씀드리는 거는 이제
We say this everywhere we go, but because it's a lot of people, we really have different faces and characters that exist together. All of us are different people who are friends and live together. So if you look closely into the group, there's a lot of fun aspects about us. We're different, but we go with the flow.
I know I've said this before, and I know it's very cliché, but we're really like the Avengers. Each and every one of us is very cool, and we're very awesome when we're together. Separately as individuals and together as a group, we're really cool. We always spend time together, but each time we hang out, we're like, oh, you had this side of you. I didn't know. You can be the Hulk.
진짜 저희 트레저는
I think Treasure is like a comic book. When you open it, we're cool. But you also want to keep reading over and over because each and every one of us has our own stories. The more you open, the more fun you find out about us. It's like a story that never ends.
Coming up, coping with the spotlight.
정말 감사한
I think it's really something to be thankful for, that there's so many fans out there that are supportive of our group, Treasure. Even if we have daily schedules, we try to focus on sharing what we do, what could be of inspiration to our fans, or listening to what our fans are worrying about, or what different aspects we want to share to our fans. I think that's how we try to utilize our time a lot.
교류하는 것 같습니다.
Welcome back to the CNBC Conversation with K-pop boy band Treasure. You're hugely popular in person, but you also have large social media followings. How do you deal with the demands of being a celebrity, the challenges of being in the spotlight?
정말 감사한 말씀 정말 감사.
I think it's really something to be thankful for, that there's so many fans out there that are supportive of our group, Treasure. It's a good way for us to share with our fans our daily lives, and working with our social media team, we're trying to come up with different ways to share more things. Even if we have daily schedules, we try to focus on sharing what we do, what could be of inspiration to our fans, or listening to what our fans are worrying about, or what different aspects we want to share to our fans. I think that's how we try to utilize our time a lot.
교류하는 것 같습니다.
Okay. K-pop has continued to make massive waves in the music industry. What do you think Treasure can do along with YG Entertainment to increase its visibility in the industry?
최근에 너무 감사하게도 저희도 보고 좀 부끄럽지만서도
One thing that I've seen recently is whenever there was an article about Treasure, they call us a performance-oriented artist. It's what we've pursued, what we've aimed for, watching other artists and what we've wanted. So we thought it is what is in our blood, what we should continue to do, and what is our weapon that we can continue to sharpen. If I was to say that we've shown this part of us, then you have to watch our concerts or our awards shows. It's not a super complete masterpiece, but it's how we see the fruits of our efforts that we've really put in. We really are continuing to focus on that performance-orientedness.
나중에 크게 되는
Later, we will be big. The rookies that will be big one day.
What are some of the biggest lessons you've learned during your experience so far in the industry?
공연은 무조건 신나게 해야 된다.
Performances should always be fun.
역시 콘서트를 하면서
When we are performing at concerts, if and when our physical conditions are bad, whenever we hear our fans cheering us on, we find energy that we didn't even know existed. We learn, we get recharged, and we find the energy and strength to perform. And we are really thankful for that.
배우게 되고 항상 감사해요.
요즘 비슷하게 팬분들에 대한 감사함과
Lately, we really realized how thankful that we are of our fans, and how it feels like all that singing practice was worth it. Rapping, dancing, singing, they make the actual musical skill sets more important. As time goes by, we realize how important that aspect is. In the past, we definitely regretted not having spent our time wiser. But as time goes by, we are picking up how to better spend our time and use our time more wisely. We know that now, and that's what we're putting our efforts in.
I remember the senior artists telling us that when we debuted. We're going to regret not having practiced more. And I think we've definitely felt that directly. And that's what's getting us to practice more.
What advice would you give to aspiring young musical artists?
정말 와닿을 것 같은 말.
Just because you failed, don't beat yourself up over it. Don't stay in that same place. I've really failed a lot, I think. Every time I went through that failure, I feel like I've learned how to get up and move on. And that's why I'm where I'm at today. I'm a leader of Treasure alongside Hyun-soo because I didn't stay in that failure pit for a long time, and I've moved on. I got back up.
가장 중요하지 않을까 싶습니다.
맞아요. 뭐 비슷할 것 같아요. 근데 일단 저도
I think I'd say something similar. What I want to say, but whatever you do, if you feel good, if you feel bad, don't get too deep into that one feeling. Maintain that neutrality. Always look at the reality and assess your reality with a cold mindset. I think 1 or 2 years ago me would have just said something emotional, like I'll cheer you on or something, to the people that have those dreams. But not only artists need a lot of determination to reach that. I want to tell you that you shouldn't start with a mindset of, as long as I do this, it should be enough. If you surely want to grow, and you have these ambitions for sure, we would love to welcome you to the same room. I really hope these friends don't take these dreams lightly.
되게 시간이나 그런
Time spent with a lot of people may seem like it will be sacrificed. But if you started this journey because you wanted to achieve this dream that much, you have to enjoy it to make it worth it, no matter how difficult it is. Always have fun and remember that message of having fun while you perform.
Final question.
Yes.
What are your hopes and dreams moving forward, let's say in the next 5 or 10 years?
진짜 저는 트레저
I really hope, just like the artists that Treasure members look up to, that our group becomes the world star that everyone looks up to and celebrates. That's our dream.
되는 게 저희의 최종 목표.
맞아요. 진짜 저희가 항상 하는 말이 항상 선배님들한테도
I want to be more than just idols. I want each and every member of the group to be an artist of their own. Of course, when we come together, we'll come together. But I also want them to be showing each and every one of their characteristics as people and as artists. Since I was little, I always wanted to perform on the US Super Bowl halftime show. I know it's really hard, but that sort of dream, even if I reach just the brink of that dream, I really want us to hold on to that dream and not let it fade away. Just like how I envision our group, Treasure.
Let's go, bro.
That's it for this episode of the CNBC Conversation. I'd like to thank Choi Hyun-suk, Ji-hoon and Yoshi for their time and wish them and the whole band the best of luck. I'm Ahmad Akhtar. Thank you so much for watching.